Yeah, I know I look good. Yeah, I look fly. Baby, I'm just your type. I'm a baddie. I'm a baddie. Yeah, I know I look good. Yeah, I look fly. Baby, I'm just your type. I'm a
So what are the advantages of being emotionally intelligent?
Okay, so advantages of being emotionally intelligent, I mentioned it in the definition I gave us, and the first one is that it helps you to relieve stress. For example, maybe you are very, very hungry, you don't have food at home, right? And you said, oh, let me buy KFC, for example, and before you could get KFC, they said they are closed. If you are not emotionally intelligent, you just be throwing tantrums. Your housemate will ask you what's wrong with you, just be shouting at the person, what is happening? You are hungry. Like, I know they say hungry man is an angry man, but if you're emotionally intelligent, they'll just say, girl, I'm very hungry, I ordered KFC, blah blah blah, and they don't have food. She'll say, oh, hey, yeah, sorry, I'm hungry too, but I have some this and let's share it. What has happened? That case is closed and now you have food, the problem is settled. But if you go the other route, that person is not the cause of your trouble. They are not the one that said you should not have food, they are not the one that caused KFC to be closed, and you're throwing tantrums. What's going to happen? You're going to go back to bed stressed, you're going to have headaches, unnecessary things will just be happening to you,
and there'll still be the hunger and the
underlying problem is still there. But if you're able to just have a meaningful conversation and say, I am hungry, that is what is doing me, please can you help out or something, just have the conversation with that person, that will really work out. So it helps you to actually relieve stress. And there are and also when it comes to the things that you cannot change, like you're going in the morning and it's raining and you have to get to work, you can't change that. You can be like Elijah though. Stop the rain. But if you try to pray and the rain doesn't stop, if you're emotionally intelligent, you're like, okay, the rain doesn't stop, it's not likely to stop by 8:30. Maybe you say, oh, let me stay home till 8:30. It's not likely to stop by 8:30. 8:30 comes, it's still raining. What do? Instead of getting angry with God, getting angry with people, just take your umbrella and go. If you don't have an umbrella, then just chill and wait for the rain. And just know that when you get wherever you're going, you might have to be giving explanations. But if you don't want to give explanations, you just joyfully just go inside the rain. If that the point is, you will not be stressed by things that you cannot change, because you already have it in your mind that this I cannot change. It's beyond me. The ones I can change, definitely I'll try my best, do what I have to do. But if I cannot change something, it's not going to stress me. So that's what emotional intelligence does for you. Another thing it does for you is it helps you to be able to communicate with people effectively. And I'll say this, one of my friends, my housemate, we had a conversation about money. I think maybe she said, I bought something I didn't buy for her. So I was telling her that, why will I buy for you? What's my business? Stuff like that. So my friend was looking at us like, wow, we can have this conversation and not feel bad. I said, why will I feel bad? We are housemates. We can talk about, I know people, the thing is, when it comes to money, I mean, people don't like talking about money.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's no big deal, let's have this conversation. And that was how this was like more of a banter, but was not nobody was really angry with the other person. And we moved on that night and nothing special. But I know if it was another person, we might not be able to have that conversation. So even if I'm saying it, that other person might have issues with me, and I'll just go and sleep, and that other person has drama. So the point is, you are able to communicate with people effectively and not have unnecessary strings attached, and still you guys will still be good. And that's why for every relationship, communication is key. So if somebody is hurting about something but they can't say it out, but you see them in pain and all, maybe they even talk to every other person about this issue, or to accept that person that is really hurting them. And that's part of the emotional intelligence. So when you're emotionally intelligent, you are aware that I am not happy with Oluchi because Oluchi did this to me. I don't know why she did this. Because I'm emotionally intelligent, I will say, Oluchi, this was what you said to me. I've been trying to figure out why you said it. Please, can you let me know? And she says, oh, I'm sorry, I did not mean it that way. I was just like, what does that do to me? It tells me that, why are you even stressing yourself? The girl did not even mean it that way. And what happens? case settled, and we move on as friends, family, and all. Then another thing it does for you is what it helps you to empathize with other people, like we explained, and also it helps you to overcome life challenges. That's very key because things happen in our lives that nobody plans for. I know sometimes we say we are prepared, but really, some things that life throws at us, we are not prepared for it.
Like 90% of the things life throws at us.
We're not actually prepared for it. But when you're emotionally intelligent, one of the things that this tells you that whatever things you're going through now, it's a season. And seasons come and they go. So you're like, okay, this season in my life is a season where I don't really have so much. So what am I supposed to do? Your brain is telling you that maybe you used to eat anyhow before, you used to spend anyhow. You're like, no, let's give ourselves brain. No more spending anyhow, right? Because you know the season you are in right now. So it helps you to overcome every challenge. Maybe you are dealing with a boss at work or a preceptor at school or a lecturer at school that is just very harsh or towards you, or maybe towards even your class generally. But you're like, okay, I'm here to learn. That's the first priority. So whatever this man or this woman is doing, it's not so much compared to what I want to learn. So you rather focus on what you are learning, what you want to learn compared to that person. And I think for school, one of the challenges that we go through is, especially when you have a lecturer that doesn't care, and it gets to you sometimes, and it's a challenge for you. It seems like you are even unable to pass the course. But when you're emotionally intelligent, what it does for you is this: you're like, okay, this man is just, or this woman is just one of so many lecturers I'm going to meet. I want to study. So with or without this man, I am going to pass. You get? So you don't make that person the principal or the authority. Even though at that moment they seem like the authority, but you identify them as just one. So I will not allow this one to affect the other 99. And I'm like, with or without this man, thank God that there's YouTube these days. There's so many resources to even go through school these days compared to in those days where you just have to look up to one person to teach you everything. So that way you're looking for other ways in which you can do well, and that way you're also not picking on that person, because I realized that especially when it comes to school, the moment you don't like your lecturer, you're not likely to give it your best. You're not likely to do well in that course, and at the end of the day, who is being affected? It is you. So you're like, this is about me, not about this person. So then also to diffuse conflict, that's the final thing. When you're emotionally intelligent, it helps you to actually resolve conflict easily. And it still goes back to communication, because now you know how to communicate. You are aware of yourself. When conflict arises, you know how to tackle it. When you understand that, okay, this is a conflict, you are not going to be picking sides, especially if you are in the middle. Maybe you are not. If you are emotionally intelligent, you'll be able to separate, like, okay, this is the real problem, this is the problem these people have, and now how can we help them to get better. And even if you are the one at conflict with somebody, for me, I tie everything back to the Bible. You know when the Bible says that if you have a problem with somebody, that you go and meet them, right? And say, oh, my brother, okay, this is what happened and all. If that person is not listening to you, the Bible says that you should go and meet people in your church. Go with another friend, right?
Okay.
And after you go with another friend, that person is not listening to you, go with elders in your church. After you go with elders in your church and that person is not listening to you, the Bible says that you should regard them as an unbeliever. So what does that mean? That person is emotionally unintelligent. So you okay, thank God for the word of God in your life. You went the first time with people and all. When you regard them as an unbeliever, you just take it like they don't understand the situation. And that way you have tried to resolve. You are not, when you see somebody like this person does not understand the situation, there's no need to fight them. They don't get it. And that way you can move on with your life and stop holding any grudge, because you're like, she does not get it, so there's no need to resolve. She does not. I've tried to resolve, but just know that when you're moving on, you're still not holding anything again. So that way you have resolved. So that way when you see that person in public, you will still greet them as if nothing happened, because you are taking her like she does not understand. Just like when you're with a child and the child does not understand, you're trying to explain something, the child does not get it. Tomorrow what happens? You still carry the child to school, feed the child, do everything. In your mind you're like, when you grow up, I will teach you, you will understand. So that's what emotional intelligence does for us.
How do I know that I'm emotionally intelligent?
I think the first thing is, are you aware of yourself? I can remember I took a test one time. See me, I used to think I was very emotional. Now when I took the test, I was like, what's happening here? You know when you feel yourself like, and I was just like, I was so shocked at my score. Like I just took the test, I was like, this test is a lie. But when I really looked at it, I was like, okay, at that point in my life, I wasn't actually in tune with my emotions. Even till now, I'm still getting there. Because if you ask me, are you hungry? I'll tell you I'm not actually, and I'm not boiling, I'm not actually feeling anything. So I was in that place where, well, if you can use air feelings, I was not feeling anything. So are you excited? I don't know. Are you sad? I don't know. So now the first thing is you being aware of yourself. So what I do these days is if something happens to me, I'm like, okay, Modupe, how do you feel? Are you happy? Are you angry? I'm like, okay, yes, I'm angry. Why? What is causing the anger? Is it what they did, what they said, what they... So it's that self-awareness, and you being able to analyze yourself. For it like it can take a lot of work, because on the normal day you just want to brush over it and move on, right? But if you're going to be emotionally intelligent, you have to make, you know, a lot of times we study other people, you have to take time to study yourself actually. And you know, when you know yourself, that way you can interact with people, relate with other people better. And you know, there's this quote that says, to your own self be true. And it can only be true when you know yourself. So it starts with you knowing yourself, and like I said, you can take the tests to know where you are.
You know, a lot of times people confuse emotional intelligence is EQ. So the EQ, IQ imbalance or balance, as the case may be. So can someone have a very high IQ and little or no EQ? Let me not say no, but a low EQ. Yeah, and if yes or no, how do I improve it? How do I balance it? How do I get better at it? Can it, you know, IQ can't improve, like it's natural, it's already there. But can you improve your EQ? Like, you understand? So IQ, EQ, and how to improve it. Okay.
So let's start. So EQ and IQ, is it possible to have like a very high IQ and low EQ? It is very, very, very possible, because a lot of, I think there was something I was reading that in Harvard, I think in 2003 or so, if I'm not mistaken, but it was in Harvard, that they noticed that most people who did well, 80% of them did well because of emotional intelligence, not necessarily because of IQ. So that means that it is possible for you to have a very, very high IQ, and you know, you are brilliant, you are smart, you know, they give you something to solve and your brain goes sharp, but still you're not being promoted at work. You're not the, you know, the coordinator, the supervisor, the manager and all. Because like what we said, you don't have empathy, you don't have social skills. Thank you, people skills, but social skills. You don't know how to manage your emotions. So for example, if you open a company now, and there's this guy that, you know, is very smart, you give him, you know, you should make a proposal and all, it comes out beautiful, excellent, but you realize that this guy fights with everybody, he's always angry. Please, if you want to choose your supervisor, you are not likely to choose him. Never. Because you know that it's going to frustrate all your workers and they will not be effective. So you rather just put him in a position where he might not necessarily have interactions with people. But you now have another guy that is average, he's okay, he's not, you know, you might have to correct him on some projects and all. But when it comes to people's skills, it's very, very much there. You want to have a presentation to your clients, it's out there, he's able to relate with your clients, not beyond the formal setting. You are likely to choose that person. The point is this, that sometimes people, the society actually, you know, sees IQ as, you know, all you need to succeed in life. But because we are human beings, you can't succeed alone with IQ. It might take you to a certain level, but it might not take you very, very far. There's this quote that says that if you walk alone, you walk fast, but when you walk with people, you walk far. So that relationship with people is very, very key, and that can only be found when you are emotionally intelligent. So for somebody that has, you know, very top-notch IQ, you can learn, how to build your EQ. It might be through self-awareness that we talked about, you being in tune with yourself. Some people might need coaches, right? You might need to read books to learn, right? We are all learning. I'm still learning so much about this and all. We are all learning, but you can actually learn on how to work on yourself.
And it's a process.
It's a process.
So wherever you are now, it's okay. You can just work on it too.
But if it's really, really bad, you might get like a coach.
Like, what are the random, will I say, quotes or sentences or statements that people who are emotionally intelligent or people who are working towards it shouldn't make, like consciously make, that kind of thing?
Consciously make.
The emphasis on consciously.
Because it's always there somewhere unconsciously, right? Okay, so one of the things that you shouldn't say to people is I had no other choice. And when I saw this, I was like, it's so true, because we always have a choice. We always have a choice for everything we do, whether good or bad. We should, if you decide to show a act of kindness today, you had a choice to either choose kindness or the other part and all. So saying I had no choice is sign of emotional unintelligence, basically. So I know a lot of us say I had no choice, I just had to do it. If you are working on your emotional intelligence, it's not something you should say. You should rather say, I had a choice and I chose this. So that means, yes, you are accepting responsibility. Because people that are not emotionally intelligent, they don't accept responsibility. They push responsibilities to other people. So it was his fault I fell down. It was his fault that I did not eat. So like that example now, it was KFC's fault. It was my parents' fault that I did not have money. Or you should have said, it was my fault that I spent my money anyhow. Or it was my fault I did not buy food. Yeah. Then also, that statement of nobody says that to me should not be something that you should say as an emotionally intelligent person. Like, he said that to you. Really? Nobody can say that to me. And that is pride, first of all. Like, it is pride. You're feeling like, anybody can say it to you. You will be surprised.
It will shock you.
It will shock you. This generation doesn't even care about anybody. It will shock you. Actually, anybody can actually say it to you. Anybody can talk to you. And that also comes from the old narcissism stuff and all. You placing yourself where you are not. Anybody can. So it's a statement that emotionally unintelligent people make, that nobody says that to me.
I feel like, sorry, another twist to that is how I am.
Thank you. That is how I am. And funny thing, in that is how I am, it seems subtle, like this person knows themselves, but that's not true. That is not true, because people that are emotionally intelligent are very interested in change. When you're emotionally unintelligent, you don't want to change at all. So even when people point your attention to something, you see it, but you're like, this is how I am. I don't want to change at all. So that's one of the ways you also know people that are emotionally unintelligent or intelligent. That aspect of change, a particular situation comes, like we talked about overcoming challenges. That's a change. If you're emotionally intelligent, you'll be able to move with your cheese. There's a book like that says move with your cheese. It's about change, basically. But this video will be too long, but you just us about that book. Then so this is how I am. It's part of it. Then not my fault. It's still part of it. When you say it's not my fault, and this is a common thing. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's still a place of we don't want to accept responsibility. Then when you're telling people do it like this, this is how you should do it. I know sometimes it might be coming from a good place. Our parents do that a lot. Even sometimes maybe we also do it like this. I've been in this world before you, and that can be coming from a very good place, because really, like, there's this Yoruba proverb that says that what the elder sees sitting down, if you like climb top of a tree, you will not be able to see that all, because with experience they might be able to know some things, but not in every situation. It might actually be true that they want to tell you that do it like this, but don't let it come out that way, because they might end up doing it that way and they might not do it from a place of intelligence. They might just do it from your own perspective, and it might not yield, and it might not yield the result and all. So it's okay to say, oh, when I was in a similar situation, this is what I did. I don't know if it can help you. You get, so maybe somebody wrote MBME maybe twice, and now maybe another person failed the first time. And
MBME is an exam.
Yeah,
a board exam.
Yeah, thank you. So like, now the person wants to write it the second time, and you're like, oh, I was in this situation, but this was what I did, this was the resources I used. I don't know if it can help you, can try it out. But not saying, do it like this. I wrote it the first time, then when I did the second time, it worked. Right? So that would be better for that person compared to, do it like this. Then also telling people that bad idea, like, that's a very bad idea, don't do that, that's a bad idea. That's still part of emotional intelligence. And I'm sure all these statements, phrases that we have made, a lot of us say a lot, but there are other things that we can say to people and say, like that first one, oh, that's a bad idea. You could just tell them that if you've been in a situation where you just say, oh, I know what you're about to do. I did something like this and this was the result. I know. So let that person choose and say, oh, so that was your result. Let that person choose and say, since you have experience, learning from another person's experience, I will not do that instead. And if they still want to say, oh, mine is different, then let them go ahead and do whatever the consequence, they should be able to accept it too and take responsibility for it. So those are some of the things. Another way to improve is to always listen to other people and also reflect. Maybe like today, you can just take time, reflect. So this so and so happened at work, at school. How did I react? Right. So this was what I said. This was what I did. Then evaluate yourself. What I said, is that the real me? Like, and if you know that maybe you're an introvert and somebody really provoked you and you're like, that's not me. I shouldn't have said that. That will bring you to the place of, okay, now I understand what went wrong. This is not who I am, but it happened, and you take responsibility. It might mean that you might have to apologize to that other person. I know sometimes there's this thing that says that, I don't know if it's a code, but like a little I'm sorry, is it worth your friendship with somebody? Because when you think about it, like, I'm sorry, that person is most likely worth more than you saying, I cannot say I'm sorry, I cannot say I'm wrong, I cannot accept the responsibility. And that thing of also wanting another person to tell you sorry back when you say your own sorry. Oh yeah, now tell me sorry now. I've told you sorry. It's your turn. But sometimes you need to understand that people might not say sorry back because sometimes they might not actually be wrong. But our own ego wants people to say because you've said your own. But sometimes they don't have to say because if I've not done anything wrong. So if I want to say, I can just say because I don't want to say. But to be genuine, if I did something wrong to you, I should say, oh, I'm sorry, I did this and now I understand. Like, oh, thank you for, coming to say that. That person doesn't have to say sorry about. So those are some of the things. So we should learn to reflect, we should learn to listen, we should learn to empathize with other people. If you need a counselor or a coach or someone to help you should get that and get knowledge, read books and all.
And with this though, we've come to the end of this video. Do well to like, share, subscribe, comment if you learned something. Check out the EQ test. I'll try to put the link in the description box. And yeah, see you in our next video. Bye.
Before you say bye, so there's this book that I've not read the book. I was supposed to read, but it's one of the top books on. This man was basically the one that made emotional intelligence popular. Daniel Goleman, emotional intelligence. So you can get the book to read. Yeah. So that will also help out.
Okay, I'll look for the book and put it in the description box too. Alright, bye guys.
Bye.
I'm a baddie. Yeah, I know I look good. Yeah, I look fly. Baby, I'm just your type.